I can still remember the first time that I fell in love with this town. The tall green trees, the mountain breeze, and the girl that made me shake in my knees. I'm gonna miss it, already miss it. One of these days, we're gonna see the sunset rise in paradise. One of these days, we're gonna rebuild that church on the corner. On a Sunday, singing Amazing Grace. Somebody get married up on a Saturday. One of these days, one of these days. Every Friday night with the big bright lights in a sea of green and gold. After dark it was Billy Park, staying out till we got cold. I'm gonna miss it, already miss it. One of these days, we're gonna see the sunset rise in paradise. One of these days, gonna rebuild that church on the corner. On a Sunday, singing Amazing Grace. Somebody get married up on a Saturday. One of these days, one of these days. Hey! You can tear these four walls down. You can burn this whole damn city to the ground. You're never gonna take our home. One of these days, we're gonna see the sunset rise in paradise. One of these days, gonna rebuild that church on the corner. One of these days, we're gonna see the sunset rise in paradise. One of these days, we're gonna rebuild that church on the corner. On a Sunday, singing Amazing Grace. Somebody get married up on a Saturday. One of these days, one of these days. One of these days, one of these days.
Welcome to Walking on the Weene Side, part of It Matters Radio. And today we're back with our dear friend Monica Brinkman, host of It Matters Radio. But today we're interviewing her. We're continuing following up on her experiences as one of the people caught in the campfire, which is the huge fire that swept through the town of Paradise and more of Northern California. And Monica, last time we were talking about really just surviving the fire itself. Now we can talk perhaps more about the aftermath, what it's like to deal with FEMA, what it's like to deal with insurance companies, what constitutes
there's fun things.
what constitutes coping in this. And we started out before, folks, with just a quick bit of good news from Monica, and this just kind of throws things into perspective. Okay, how much chance and plays a part in all of this, and how, things you don't even think about. So Monica just recently found out some good news, and that was about your septic system. your septic tank.
Yes.
Why don't you tell the audience what you found out?
Yeah, I was so thrilled because you can imagine that when fire burns, it gets into everything. And that's the part that's hazardous. And anytime any bit of the debris gets into anything, that has to be destroyed. And so you can imagine the septic tanks got full of this debris. Well, we were so fortunate because the fire decided that all it was going to do to ours was melt a little teeny bit of a cap, but it didn't penetrate through. So there was no contamination at all in the septic tank. And instead of $12,000, which would have come out of our pocket, it cost $70. So I was thrilled about that.
Can you imagine folks being thrilled that the shit didn't get into your shit system?
I know. Isn't that the truth?
And the other part of it is, you don't think about it when you're thinking about what you are insuring and what you're, who thinks about septic tanks? Well, in my case, we're hooked to the town sewers anyway, so it wouldn't be an issue. But, how many people living in paradise understood that somehow their insurance would not be covering their septic tank?
Yeah, they knew that.
About such things.
Though you can get insurance on it. I don't know that it would cover a fire, though. Probably not.
So, but those are the kinds of things you've been living with, getting approval to start work. Everything, all the decontamination work has to be done first. But tell us a little bit about dealing with first of all, FEMA, because of course, no matter where we are, if there is a huge event, we Americans like to think we can rely on the federal government to be there to help us.
Well, what I found out, and I don't think many people realize this about FEMA, FEMA is there to help people who are devastated by the fire. Mm-hmm. And first of all, you had to go to a mall and stand in this really, really long line. And then you'd get a number. Then you got to go sit for however long it took until they called your number. And you were given a FEMA number. And every time you went there, you had to go through the same procedure. You had to wait for them to call you.
Every time you go, you have to stand in line again?
Yes. Yeah. You have to stand in line. And, we don't know what's going on. All we know is that they said FEMA was there to help, so everybody's going there. So when you finally get to talk to somebody over at FEMA, the first question they ask you is if you have insurance. And if you have insurance, then you are sent to SBA to see if you qualify for a small business administration loan. Everybody thinks that each and every person whose home was destroyed received like $43,000 from the government. That's not so. The majority of people had insurance. The majority of people didn't receive any of that. Not that I want it, you know what I'm saying, but I just wanted to make it clear to everyone that your taxpayer money is going to the people who were so devastated. They were living in tents.
But now,
they had no money. Their job was gone now. Mm-hmm. Because you can imagine a lot of people in Paradise and Magalia worked right in that area. And those businesses were destroyed. Many of them lost their cars along with that. So here they are with no transportation, no job, no money, no. And those are the people that were given money so they could either go purchase a trailer or something to live in. Mm-hmm. I used to see the people every day that weren't fortunate enough to find a place because, like I said, there's no room at the inn, and in pouring rain and everything else, here they are outside many of them without shelter at all. So that money was used wisely,
It's used
So,
wisely for those most in need, but
yes.
almost none of it is going to people who are in less need, but also have lost a lot. I mean, when you say this, when we're talking about this, we have to remember that your insurance comes nowhere near covering
No,
all of your loss.
no, no. And some of the loss was so bad. We had an insurance company that we had an auto through. They went bankrupt from the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we had to cancel the auto policy with them. But that's how bad it was for the insurance companies. If they weren't a huge insurer,
Mm-hmm.
then they didn't have the funding to take care of everyone. They never expected that many people to need them at one time, And the one good thing that they did in California, the new governor and such, or maybe it was the old governor going out, he made it a law within the state that if your home was destroyed, the insurance company had to cover you for fire insurance when you rebuild your home.
Mm-hmm. But now you saying that some of the insurance companies went bankrupt.
Yeah.
What happened to
Right.
those people who had policies with them?
They got to stand in line. It's terrible.
Stand in line with the insurance company. And
The bankruptcy court, whatever they can get from that.
Yeah. And then can they then go to FEMA and say, well, yeah, I had insurance, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, and I believe FEMA would help them out then.
I see.
FEMA's just trying to, like I said, they don't want to double dip, I guess is what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
Because the truth is, most of the people had insurance. It took care of the housing, and that's what FEMA's for, getting shelter for you.
Yeah.
And they did help people get a place to stay
Mm-hmm.
who had insurance and had a trailer, because a lot of people had their own, family trailers that they use for vacation and such.
Mm-hmm.
They allotted spots for them to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't that they didn't do anything for you, but they did what was needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want everybody to know that money wasn't coming here and spent foolishly.
It wasn't buying steak dinners for people who had hamburger already on the plate. It was buying minimal comfort and shelter for people who absolutely were devastated.
Yes.
Now that you have been in through this system, do you think that perhaps FEMA should be expanded, especially with the growing number of natural disasters?
Yes. And it's growing every year. I want to say something about the FEMA employees, though. They were wonderful, and they continue to be so. I don't know how many people could sit and listen to the heartache, and stories are way worse than mine, day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them gave up their holidays so they could be with us.
Now, these are federal employees.
Yes. They flew from wherever
who might have been furloughed when the government, and they're giving up holiday time in order to help. I hope people hear that, because, it's so often people in this country kind of deride our federal employees, our government workers, and make it light of, they're getting the easy deal. And reality is that for the vast majority of them, they're dedicated, hardworking, responsible, and caring people.
Compassionate. The most compassionate people. And they didn't lie about anything. I'm waiting for, okay, what's the catch to this now? No, they were upfront about everything. And that was great. Now, while we were there, it wasn't just FEMA that was in this big building.
Mm-hmm.
It was people it was all kinds of organizations from the United States and all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell this because it happened a few times. There was this one organization. In fact, let me grab this.
Sure.
Okay, this is the Buddhist organization. I don't know if you can see that.
Uh-huh.
And this is all in Buddhas.
Uh-huh.
They came from all over the world, the Buddhists. They were giving $500 cards, debit cards and such, out to the evacuees to help them.
Wow.
And they gave us these, and I asked for two of them, one for Rich and one for me. And they said, the only thing we ask of you is to fill that up with your loose change and give it to someone else who needs it.
Now, wait a second. Is there an organization name on that or something so that our listeners,
yes.
if we say
Yes.
it very slowly, and listeners write it down, and maybe you can send some of your loose change as a donation, because any organization that's trying to help that way deserves certainly our help.
They've got a U.S. and they have a worldwide.
Well, let's
chapter.
do the U.S. because most of our listeners
Okay.
are
Well,
here.
this is their. I'm going to give you their website so you can learn about them. Wonderful people. It's www. T like Tom, Z like zebra, U, C like cat, H, L like Larry, .us. And they are the Buddhist Zai Chi Foundation.
So I'm just going to repeat that to make sure if I didn't get it right, then you didn't get it right. But Monica, so if you've got that in your hand, I'm going to read back what I heard. www.T as in Thomas, Z as in zebra, U as in orangutan, C as in Charlie, H as in Harry, L as in Larry, .us.
Yes.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and
Now,
that's an organization we can all go to, find out about how they're raising money, and perhaps consider contributing our loose change. What a lovely thing! And did you and Rich got a card from them?
Yeah, we got a card from them.
Great.
And
wonderful.
what was so funny was there were other organizations there, like the Red Cross, United Way, CalFire, and all these people were doing things to help. But people would ask us, what was the can, and we would tell them it's the Buddhists, and they would go, oh. That happened several times.
Mm-hmm.
Until they found out that they were giving $500.
Yeah, and then it was, the Buddhists.
And then these same people were in line.
Of course.
Ken, that's a good thing, though, because it bridged a gap.
Mm-hmm.
Because they sit there and they talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't hand them out. You come in and you chat with them.
Right.
So it was a really good thing.
I think one of the things I would imagine being in that situation is, especially for some people like you and Rich had friends and Rich had coworkers and the support we've talked about last time. But for a lot of people, they must have felt so terribly, terribly alone. And to have
they were people terrified.
Yeah. And to have somebody
it was
there
like
to
people were
talk
walking
to.
in circles. You know what I mean? They didn't know where to go, where to move, what to do.
So what are some of the other organizations that you and Rich personally had contact with beside the Buddhist?
CalFire.
Okay, what is that?
They were giving it's California Fire. They oversee all of the, fire industry.
Uh-huh.
And they were giving out $500 cards also. United Way, Red Cross. Because I want to tell people, I always hear these stories about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
No, these were given. It wasn't like, here's a loan and you got to pay me back.
Uh-huh.
When it came down to a disaster, they do give.
Yeah. So
Now, one of the places that I thought was wonderful, because no one ever thinks about it, is the chefs of the world.
oh, they're fabulous.
They had food there every single day for us, and something to drink.
Mm-hmm.
And clothing. There was clothing. Everything that I'm wearing, everything that I own right now, is because I was given it.
Mm-hmm.
By someone. I haven't bought anything because I need to save the money to find out what's going on,
Oh, so you have not had, you and Rich have not actually even had to go and buy clothes because people have been just coming up to you and saying, oh, what size do you wear?
They gave us dog food, cat food, toiletries, makeup, anything you could think of, socks. And it was the people throughout the country and the world who did this. I want people to know that it wasn't just the U.S. people. People around the world do care about the people in the United States. They may not like the government, but they love us. And I want that to be known, So, it was a process, Ken, that it was hard for many people, especially people that were alone, like you said. All they know is they were told to come here. They don't know where to go, what's available. So everyone tried to help each other. The state was there, the county was there, the IRS was there. I mean, veterans were there. Almost anybody you can think of that could help someone.
Uh-huh. And what, they took over a mall, basically?
Yeah, they took over part of it. Some of the stores that had closed.
And every group could be there to help.
Yeah. They also opened schools in some of the malls. So the children who didn't have school anymore, even though they had to travel, would be able to get their education.
Right.
Can you imagine if you were a senior in high school and this happened?
Oh, yeah, it was devastating.
And
did the schools burn? Did they lose the school buildings? So, of course, there's the question of records and school, college apps. And, oh, my God, just so hard on people.
It was. But I thought people could get an idea. But everyone is so grateful to all of you.
We're going to take a quick break at this point, folks, and then we're going to be right back with Monica Brinkman talking more about her experience after the campfire. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Walking on the Weene Side. So, Monica, you were talking to all these people and working your way through this mall of helping people. I got to ask, did you find some good people for me to interview? Because we do want to share on It Matters Radio things and people who matter.
Oh, there's so many people. We'll have to reach out to them and see if they would come on. Because they'll tell you. It'd be nice to get the other side too, how they coped with dealing with all the sorrow.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the possessions that people were so upset about. It was their animals and such.
Oh, of course.
Things like that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I know how devastated you were that one of your cats apparently has been lost. I know you continue to search. And,
yeah, we go out there all the time, call him. Who knows? One day he might show up. You never know. But one thing about the Buddhists, I had to tell you this. Hey, all these other organizations are fantastic, but this story I just thought was so sweet. They began through two women who decided to take plastic bottles and recycle them and make blankets and scarves and hats out of them. In fact, we have some of the blankets they made out of them.
Oh.
And it started bottle by bottle, people collecting them until it is what it is today. So.
And that's this Buddhist organization. I'm going to read that website again, folks, because we really do want you to go there and contribute. www.tzuchl.us. And, one of the things it's interesting to me is that in many communities, Monica, groups like the Buddhists, because they're not mainstream, are missed. That we don't stop and find. And, often they provide not just services, but community events and wonderful things. I was just telling Monica during the break here in Tucson, where I live, we have a Buddhist society, and once a month they do a very inexpensive buffet of Thai food. And they do it just to open up to the community and welcome the community. I haven't been yet. We're supposed to go this month, and I understand that among other things, some of the best food in town. But it's also just this very welcoming thing. I know, I don't know if you had contact with them, but I know that some of the Muslim organizations here in the States were also
they were there. A couple of the Muslim owners of the, what do they call them? I shouldn't call it a roach coach. They're a truck, with the food truck.
Let's face it, most Americans call them roach coaches, and we love eating them.
But that's not very nice for radio. But anyway, they provided food. The Mexicans provided food. They go around and give all this food to everyone. There were Chinese people there. This is what I'm trying to say. Don't believe all this crap you're hearing. And please reach out to people as individuals, not as a country.
Yeah, because
or as a political, statement. It's
we're all more nearly human than otherwise.
Yeah. Well, Ken, it's just the fact that we're all the same when it comes down to it.
Yes, yes. I think it's interesting, though. I mean, I was thinking about it when you said the Mexican food trucks, and I was thinking about how people were saying before the last presidential election that if one person, one we'd have a taco truck on every corner, which to me seemed like a promise, not a threat. 'Cause
I
love
know, but I love
taco.
Mexican food.
But you know, the reality is that although the economic distribution may not be the same, there may be fewer high-income Mexican Americans as compared to, say, British Americans or whatever. The fact is that the people are people, and the people who care, and the people who care give and do and are there for others. And as you're pointing out, Monica, it doesn't matter what religion, whether they're Muslim, Sikh, Buddhist, Christian, Jewish, it really, atheist, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what national origin, what political party, or any of those things. What matters is that the people who have hearts care. And because they care, they are there for their neighbor.
Well, I want to give you an example here. Where we're staying, the farm, these are very, very loyal Trump supporters. And you know how I feel.
In case you haven't guessed, folks, Monica is not a loyal Trump supporter.
No, but these are some of our dearest friends. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. Look, let people have differences and stop trying to be right. It's okay to voice your opinion. We'll have discussions, political discussions, but certainly that isn't the majority of our discussions with them. What matters is how people act in life. They can say anything, but it's when it comes down to who they really are. So for all of you who always are telling me that I hate Trump supporters and all this, I never have hated them. I never will.
Monica, I don't think you're capable of hate, are you?
I send them, tell you the truth, Ken, I know people laugh at me, but I send them love to their heart so that it'll open up and start caring for people.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
That strikes me as much more who you are.
I don't know if they feel that love or not, but no one's told me.
So,
in fact, I sent it to Trump, and he never told me. No.
But I'm kind of curious. We've opened up the topic of politics. How do you think this natural disaster, and it's more than a natural disaster because there's culpability. There's the electric company is clearly culpable.
Well, they admitted it.
Yeah, I know they finally have admitted it after going bankrupt. But
for their shareholders, yes.
But I am wondering, how do you think the aftermath of this fire is going to affect the politics of Northern California, that area of California? Do you think it will?
This area where we live, it's about, I'd say 48, to 50-some, 52, in favor of Republicans.
Yeah,
it's very, very close. In fact, there's people that almost made it who never would have before. The problem is this. Many, many people are progressive in this area, tons of them. But where they get the other votes, the conservative votes, are with the farmers. And there's many, many farms in this area. You start going up a little bit north, that's where you're really condensed with farms and such. Now, for some reason, they believe he's better for the country.
But I'm wondering, do you think the fire is going to change the way people think politically?
Yes, I do, because it brought people together. who probably never would have spoken to each other before. In fact, there was this one little group that I joined for a while, and then I quit because all they were doing is bashing everybody who had an opinion that was different than theirs. They stopped doing that in that group once this happened, and they all came together as people.
So one of the things disasters do positively for us is they make us forget some of the pettiness and the bickering about differences.
Yeah. In fact, we're going to show some paintings that were done by a Disney artist that he took any stones and such that were left, and he did some beautiful artwork that I hope stays there forever. Because I'm thinking maybe it was when Ron Howard was here, because Ron Howard's parents lived in Paradise.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
That's why he was doing the documentary here on it.
Well, he's a real good guy.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh, he's a good guy, isn't he? I love Ron. Ever since he was Opie.
Well, everybody loved Opie. But yeah, no, I mean, he's one of the real good gay people in movies, in the film industry. And of course, you and I have, over the years through It Matters Radio, have met so many wonderful people in that industry who really do care about the world. Barry Brown, who just missed getting an Oscar for his work editing Black Klansman. Mike Shiflett, who in fact was just on Orange Child. I mean, we've had so many wonderful people from that industry join us.
Yeah, really talented people, and we've had some that were really well known too in the past. So, but when you sit down and you talk to the people, you find out they're just like you. They're not some star. They want to chat with you and tell their story. So that's one of the good things that happened out of this, was that people did embrace each other. It didn't matter politics. It didn't matter social status. Didn't matter age.
Yeah, it was struck by the fact that the people who got you out of there were young.
Yeah. That's the way America should be.
Yes, it is.
Stop all this divide. I'm sick of it.
So maybe one thing, although, unfortunately, historically, disasters have brought us together, but the aftermath, slowly the divide comes up again. I'm thinking of 9/11 and Katrina, and, we have these terrible things happen. We realize that we are one nation, one people, one caring group, and then the pundits and the politicians and the hate sowers start kind of working their way in.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, hopefully people are wise enough, though, to make their own decisions. I'm hoping on that. But it's crazy. My brother had called me, and my brother says things sometimes I'm thinking, I know he meant this kindly, but he said, "Oh, Monica, no." He goes, "They've done studies on people who lived through disasters, and it affected them for months and years, and that you'll be depressed forever." And I'm like, he didn't say it exactly like that, but I know it was out of concern. And I want to address that. There's an underlying sadness and depression, but it's not so overwhelming that it rules people's lives. And if they're letting it do that, they need to, look at the positive things in their life. The hardest part is sitting here waiting, Ken.
One of the things that strikes me is that after a tragedy like this, that if the community finds ways to, the word that comes to my mind is celebrate, which is such a bizarre choice of words, but to celebrate that disaster, to remember it, to set up, whether it's a community event every year or some a memorial, to keep it alive in people's hearts as a unifying thing. I think that helps avoid what your brother was talking about, which is really a collective
Yes.
PTSD.
Yeah, and I think that's what he meant, that you get a form of PTSD.
Yeah.
And but I always look at everything in life is you can either let it consume you or you can take charge. You have to.
I think that's.
But I just want people to know what's going on. Is most of the people, you've got 13,000 some people just sitting around waiting for debris to be removed. They have no idea when that's going to happen. That's the hard part.
Yeah. There's an awful lot of waiting. And at least, I must say, and of course that's where the process you're in now, and pretty soon, hopefully, you'll be in the rebuilding stage, but right now you're still at the kind of the waiting stage, which, how long has it been now?
Yeah, 4 months, almost. On the 8th, it'll be 4 months. Yeah.
But I think it's important for people to understand that in that waiting stage, as you described, there have been people trying to help. And we talked about some of these direct on-the-ground help. You're sitting there waiting for your number to be called, but people are calling it. People are talking to you.
Yes.
People are helping. And I think that gives you hope and maintains people together, that you see it coming. You see people moving forward and trying.
Can I cry to almost every time? I mean, I'm not used to having that much given to me by anyone and not asking anything in return. And I mean, it even brought Rich to tears. He'll probably hate me for saying that, but it did. The kindness of people, it was like you kept getting hit with kindness. And wow, that is what brought us to tears.
And it does help people in getting through the waiting and the waiting and the waiting. And of course, we're going to be following up now as the waiting turns to action. We're going to be talking about what it means to clean away the debris. And we're going to be talking about how does the community choose to go forward. I don't know. I've refrained from asking this before, but because I know how difficult and how busy and caught up everybody is. But I'd love it sometime if we could get the mayor of Paradise to join us, so that we could talk to her about how the community goes forward.
Yeah, she's so positive. I really like her.
Well, would you ask her if she would join us to talk about rebuilding?
People, you never know. All they can say is yes or no, right?
Right. Because I think, yes, in and of itself, because it's you, Monica, this is an important story to our listeners. But it's more important as an example of, because what you've gone through, what you're going through, what you will be going through, what your community is going through is a lesson, a place where all of us can learn more about who we are.
Exactly. Exactly, because I certainly have.
So, I just want to, before we start, folks, I'm going to repeat that website one more time. And hopefully we're going to be able to get them on the show, because they are a wonderful organization. But, because we Americans really think of ourselves as so, we're a Christian nation or a Judeo-Christian nation. It's so important to remember that other groups like Muslims, like Sikhs, like Hindus, like all of these groups, and in this instance, the Buddhists. And that organization is www.tzUCHL.us. And look them up and maybe donate and maybe learn something about how they approach life and especially loving one another. So,
Exactly.
Monica, one last question before we go for today. If you can look into your crystal ball for 1 minute, you know, what you're going to rebuild, you and Rich are going to rebuild, okay? What changes would you like to make in your next home from the one that burned? Give us some ideas. What is something you could look forward to changing?
Yeah, actually, we had more work to do in the house. So that's one thing that we're not going to have to deal with, that expense anymore. Rich loves it. He says, I can just move in and, everything's ready. Most we have to do is paint. We were going to cut some trees down. That kind of happened for us. Rich won't be yelling about all the leaves in the yard and having to deal with those. But actually, we're getting a more, what I want to say, Brinkman home. It's more something that we would have wished if we had our brother, So nice open concept with a little porch in the front.
So you've been shopping already?
Yeah, we're ready to go. We're just waiting for them to get the debris.
Oh, okay.
Out.
You've already picked out what you want to have moved in, and fabulous. Now I have to ask you a very key question. Did you have you got a guest room?
Yes. I have two, but one's going to be the studio. So you can come out and visit me.
Okay.
and I'll cheat, and you'll have to eat lasagna.
I eat lasagna.
Oh, okay. Then you won't be cheating, so you're okay.
I eat lasagna, but I love eggplant lasagna, even as much as I love pasta lasagna.
You know what? I want to tell everybody this. If you're on keto or paleo, or you want to watch the type of sugars and such that come into your body, there is a flour called cassava.
Yes, there is.
Flour. Excellent for making noodles and such.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to get Otis's, because the rest of them are just fine ground.
Mm. How about
So
there's another show. Are you a keto dieter?
Sometimes I haven't been lately. Oh, I want to tell you, that's one downfall. All of a sudden, I'm like starving all the time. It's like that's how I'm dealing with my emotions, is eating. So I've gained like 5 pounds.
When you're moving into your new place and you have all that work to do, you'll burn that off.
I hope so. I told Rich once we get our place, we're going back to eating healthy.
Okay. Well, Monica, on behalf of Roz, myself, and all the people who love you, we certainly do hope that you'll stay healthy. Folks, thank you so much for joining us today on It Matters Radio.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Ken.
An artist moved by what was left behind of his friend's home after a wildfire used the site as a canvas. Shane Grammer says he was devastated to find out how many people he knew were left homeless by the campfire in Paradise, California.
At least 15 families that I grew up in church with, went to school with, lost their houses. Some of them have insurance. A lot of them didn't have insurance. My heart's broken. I have family that still live up there. And then when my buddy Shane posted photos of the only thing standing was his chimney, it was perfect. I'm like, I gotta paint that chimney.
Grammer has been a graffiti artist since high school. He says his friend Shane Edwards agreed to let him create a mural on his wall. After 3 hours, Grammer created this striking image of a beautiful woman.
I'm not trying to say anything. It's just I'm an artist, and it was an opportunity for me to express and be an artist and paint and do something that I've been doing for a long time. Sure, it has a deep meaning to it. To me, I don't think I really try to get it out there, to be honest with you, but people see it.
Grammer says it's meant to show the creator's love for its creation. While it has been interpreted in many ways, he says the most meaningful reactions he's heard are ones of hope.
From reading a lot of the comments and how it's encouraged people, I think they needed encouragement. And I think this is one way out of all the stories that showed them, almost like a slap in the face, there is hope. There will be hope. There is beauty in the ashes.
For InsideEdition.com, I'm Mara Montalbano.